What's up and welcome to another episode of Winged Octopus. This is Tyler here alongside Ryan.
Hello.
Hey Ryan, how you doing? Alongside Greg and Tess, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing just peachy. How are you?
Okay, I'm
boys?
redoing that intro. I'm redoing
Oh my god.
So I was like,
that was
Ryan
awful.
chimed in real quick and Tyler wasn't ready for it.
Something happened in the Red Wings game, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I realized I was doing the podcast. All right, I'm going to start it again.
I'll just wait till you're done.
Yeah.
All right.
Get your shit together, Tyler.
Here we go. What's up, and welcome to another episode of Winged Octopus. This is Tyler here alongside Tess, Ryan, and Greg. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm just peachy keen. How are you boys?
Yeah, I've been a lot better. Today was a really shitty day. Although,
Our home opener got rained out. I don't want to hear about your socks blowing.
Your team didn't blow a 4-run lead in the 8th inning.
Well,
They will.
Whatever.
I'm sure they will.
They'll blow.
You're right. I'm sure they will.
We should probably mention that today is Thursday, the 29th of March when we are recording this. So it is baseball opening day.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be the first day since the 60s where all the teams played on the same day. But the Tigers yet again ruined another baseball thing and got rained out. So
Mother Nature, it's Michigan. It could have been snowing. So, I mean, let's just take the rain. But this is not a baseball podcast. This is a hockey podcast. So, Tyler, what are we going to talk about tonight?
So we are going to talk about why the Wings are so inept and what the hell's going on. Possible Ken Holland and Jeff Blashill extensions. Yes, extensions, apparently.
Not here.
Why Ken Holland cannot sign a free agent to save his fucking ass, and our draft position. And then if we have time, we will also mention some players that could possibly be drafted in the spot that we will be in. We will possibly be from 5 to 7, or we could be even lower than that. Greg, I want you to shout out the sponsors, and then we can get this thing going here.
yeah, so if you don't know by now, I feel real bad for you, but our sponsor's Howie's Hockey Tape. Listen, go to Howie's, buy some stuff, use the promo code WINGED. You get 10% off. If you do that, something bad might not happen to you. So go to Howie's. Howie's is a Michigan-made product. They serve the NHL, the AHL, the OHL, all the fun HLs. It's howieshockeytape.com. Promo code WINGED saves you 10%. So I think we're going to jump right into it too, Tyler. We're going to get right into the Wings' missteps in the past week and a half, and I'm going to let you start.
Well, I don't know exactly what you want me to throw out there. They haven't played great. I mean, I guess they did win the last game, and, it just hasn't been great. They're giving Evgeny Svechnikov, 4 or 5 minutes a night. And
he's up to 8 now.
Okay, he's up to 8. Oh, even better, right?
Just ask Greg. Greg's keeping tabs real close.
They did bring up Joe Hicketts, which is a good thing, and he, found himself into the lineup, and he's actually getting a lot of ice time, which is a good thing, which is exactly what should be happening when the team is struggling the way they have, and the team is basically playing meaningless hockey. I mean, does anybody disagree with that?
No.
They're playing meaningless hockey. So
everyone's like, "No, we suck. We're awful."
So
we're
with
just trying to survive.
With meaningless hockey, which should mean that guys like Mike Green, when Mike Green got hurt, Hronek should have been called up, or Hicketts, and now they did call up Hicketts, so that's a good thing, right? I don't need to see Xavier Ouellet again this year. I don't know about you guys. I don't need to see him again this year.
I don't need to see Erickson ever again.
I don't need to see Cronwall or Erickson either this year. And unfortunately, we do have to. I mean, that's where I'm at with this team. I mean, right now, just run out the season. It's baseball season. There's a lot of other things going on in sports, and then, we'll see at the draft at some point. So, I mean, that's really where I'm at. I mean, I'm not rooting for them to lose. I know, Greg, you are. But
Tyler, why are you lying? You're full on for tanking season.
I'm not though. And the more I think about it, it's just I guess now at this point, it's like if you lose, it's good. But I mean, like, I'm still not rooting for it. Like, I'm not openly saying, "Oh, I hope we lose every single game," because that's not fun either. That just defeats the purpose of watching the game. I might as well put the Giants Dodgers game on my TV, you know. So, like, I don't know. That's where I'm at with this team. I'm really just looking forward to the draft. I'm looking forward to see what the Griffins can do in the AHL playoffs. And now that we know after last year, you know, they won the Calder Cup, that just doesn't mean shit for the development of this team, because you have guys like Abdelkader and Glendening and Eriksson and Cronwall and you know, ex-player clogging Hronek and Hicketts and Sariarvi and all these guys. And, you know, it's just going to be the same fucking thing until something changes. And that's why people don't go to games. And that's why, you know, it feels like the Red Wings are losing popularity.
So based on that, we're going to go with another popular move the Red Wings made recently. And that is the leaked announcement from an inside source. It has not been confirmed yet, but all the news outlets posted it, that Holland will be getting an extension with or without a contract. And most likely we'll bring back Jeff Blashill. Ryan, what are your thoughts on the return of Blashill and Ken Holland?
Well, first thing I'll touch on is Joe Hicketts continue his point per game pace because he just got an assist on the Mantha goal. However, Ken Holland, I'm not overly upset about. I am, but I'm not. If it's for 1 or 2 years, like it sounds like, possibly 3. 2 I can deal with, but if it's for the piece that bothers me the most is Blashill coming back. I think he has horribly managed the team, especially of late. How we keep the last couple of times we've talked, it's been Svechnikov's awful ice time, and it's things of that nature. I love that he's putting Hicketts out there and actually putting him in a role that's going to test him and challenge him. I don't know why he fails to do that with other guys in that role, especially the forward side. And we see guys like Darren Helm constantly with Mantha and Larkin. I think it's worked out once. And then you got Svechnikov with 2 guys that are role players in Glendening and Ferk, and that's just what's bothered me the most. And it's been nonstop since Blashill's been there. I think if he's got a fast lineup, his type of coaching can work. But for what they have, it's not working. And that's the most frustrating part, especially when Eriksson is still getting top-end minutes. That's why I'm glad that it's almost coming to an end. But for what they've got in the system, and I know we're going to touch on it later, but failing to get college-free top-tier defensemen is what is the most frustrating part of it all. And I don't necessarily put that on Holland. Well, it is a lot on Holland because of his last 5-6 years of bad contracts, but to me, it's a toss-up at this point. I'm happy there's potential, but I'm not happy that it's taken the path that it has to get there.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I'm less happy with Holland returning because Holland is the reason we're in the position we're in now. Holland handcuffed us with the contracts. He handcuffed us with the salary cap. And then everyone thinks he deserves to come back and lead this rebuild, which to me doesn't make any sense. And him coming back with or without a contract also doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't understand that part.
There's no reason to bring him back without a contract unless you're just saying, okay, you're going to be GM until we're not going to sign you. You're just going to be GM until we find your replacement.
It's going to be a much nicer version of Ron Francis in Carolina for him.
I mean, it's Holland, so it's not much nicer.
Well, yeah. Well, what I mean by that is that he's going to get moved into another front office role that he's should have taken years ago before Yzerman left, but that's another dark hole. But that's where I see that going with him.
Yeah, my thing with it is that and they were talking about it on 97.1, it's that it bringing them back is like a big middle finger to the fans, basically saying, we hear what you're saying, we just don't care. We don't care what you think. it's what we're going to do and just deal with it. And that's the big FU to the fans is kind of what pisses me off more than anything, because you have one of the biggest fan bases in hockey. You have one of the most well-traveled fan bases in hockey. And making a move like this, your fan base is going to start dropping out. There's no reason to watch losing hockey with a guy who screwed up your team at the helm. It should be going to a new group of people, your new management team, a new scouting team that can bring you up to be the next dynasty of the Red Wings again. And I feel with the people who screwed it up and clearly can't work with it are the ones that are screwing you the most, and to bring them back makes no sense to me. Tess, what do you think?
Well, I agree with what you guys have said, like not being as upset or frustrated that Holland's supposed to be coming back. I don't know if you guys read Craig Cousins' article last week about his like behind the scenes with the GM meeting. The only reason why I'm not so upset is that he asked the good old Lord and Savior Steve Yzerman his thoughts and opinions, and Stevie said, and I quote, "I believe with everything he's done," talking about Holland, and that he deserves the time and the respect of everyone to rebuild it. Now, I know we are frustrated as a fan base. We are all Veruca Salt. We want change and we want it now. But that's not how life works. This is a process. We have to accept it and just go with the flow. And I'm going to trust what Stevie says, because Stevie brought hockey and life back to Detroit. So I'm going to trust it, because deep down, I think he's going to come home.
Stevie said that so that we would just shut up about him coming home.
You know what,
He's
Greg?
like, yeah, let Holland keep going.
Let me have my moment, okay? Let me
the
have
bubble
it.
was floating high, and Greg came in with the needle.
Yeah,
Seriously,
that's
so
what
rude.
bring back down to earth.
Fucking rude.
How dare you, Greg? How dare you?
Shooting holes in your hot air balloon.
Okay, but no, seriously, it's Holland. I mean, I'm more for the 2 years, okay? Blashill, I was trying to think, maybe it's just, an off season, just the players aren't playing their best. It just sucks all around. But he's not using his assets like you've been talking about.
Nope.
The ice time is not divided like it should be. We have a freaking traffic cone out there more than a little baby with some speed. No. Why is Erickson still here? Why isn't anyone just taking care of him already? That's my big question.
He needs the Tanya Harding.
No, where's Jeff Gillooly? I'll call him. Give me that baseball bat. Blashill, he can leave tomorrow.
I think they're giving him the benefit of the doubt with his, because he has 1 year left actually, and
Flash is 1 year.
Yeah, so I think they're just going to let him finish it and go.
That's fine, but I think it's more of we front office, because also I was reading in that article, the assistant GM Ryan Martin. Never heard of him until I read this article, but he has a very old school mentality. He still believes that the Griffins need to be overripe, and I'm thinking that mindset went out the way back in 2013.
Yeah,
we don't have time for these kids. So reading that, I'm it's not just, we can't all just be mad at Ken Holland, because there's a group of these guys making decisions. Ken Holland's just the one voicing them. So it's a big issue with a lot of people in the front office. So get rid of the old farts that still think that you got to earn your way, which I agree, but you can't let these kids sit there for 5 years.
No.
How is that helping us?
It's not.
You need to get a new coach that's going to use these players like they're here for a reason. What's 5 minutes of ice time helping Svechnikov? How is that helping him?
It's not. He should fucking play first line minutes in the AHL. It's going to help him more than playing fourth line minutes in the NHL and getting 5 minutes a night.
Our bitching is coming to fruition, because right now Hickett, Svechnikov, Mantha, and Larkin are on the ice right now.
Look at that.
Blashill has been trying the Larkin, Mantha, Svechnikov line a few times, and it's a fast line and it's a good line, and he should keep doing it. But he'll go back to Glendening and Svechnikov and Ablocator and that garbage.
Fourth line people with a first line. Yeah, I don't understand.
Well,
but
so
speaking,
I just want to throw my 2 cents in about this. Yep. All right, so this guy has made a mess of this situation, and yes, it's not just him. Okay, I get it. But here's my thing with the whole situation. It's fans want change, and obviously, we can't just have everything right when we want it. But this situation the team itself has not won a playoff series since 2013 now, 2012. They haven't won a playoff series since 2013 against Anaheim in the first round. Last year in the West.
Yep.
That was the first. Yeah. That was the last time that they've won a playoff series. It's an absolute joke that this guy is still in office, right? And then it's a joke that the ownership and everybody just wants to accept it and say, oh, let's let him rebuild it. What gives you the indication that number one, he wants to rebuild it, and number two, what gives you the indication that he's the right guy to do so? I think they're just being loyal, and it's going to bite them in the ass again, because now you're going to set yourself back even further once Ken Holland's gone. I don't understand what they're trying to do with bringing him in without a contract. What? So you can just let him go if he doesn't do well? Just let him go. Set him free. This is your opportunity to do so. I don't understand what they're doing down there, because Mr. I would have never let this happen, number one. And he's got to be beside himself in heaven right now.
Well, he still employed him when he was alive. So he obviously was for it. The man was for it. He would have gotten rid of him back when he lost to Tampa. The man also had tremendous respect for Dave Dombrowski and got rid of Dave Dombrowski. And I'm not saying Dombrowski had the same success that Ken Holland did, but Dombrowski did have some success with the Tigers. So, I don't know. I just don't understand it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And Tess, like you were saying, what Ryan Martin said, that the players got to earn their stripes or whatever. Yeah, you got to earn your stripes when there's guys like Zetterberg and Datsuk and Franzen and Holmstrom and Draper and Malpe and all those guys. You had
in 2009. You needed to earn your stripes.
9 years later.
Now, if you're ready to play in the NHL, guess what? Other organizations do. They play, believe it or not. Ryan Donato with Boston, he was just at Harvard and literally just said, you know what? I'm not gonna finish graduating at Harvard. I'll do that in the summertime. I'm gonna go play in the National Hockey League with the Boston Bruins and probably gonna play in the playoffs. Like, I just don't understand it, man. I don't get it. But
that also brings us to our next point of Ken Holland couldn't have signed Ryan Donato if he wanted to, or anyone, because free agents don't want to come here with our shitty management and coaching situation. And Tyler, I'll let you continue on that one just for a little bit, and then I'll move over to Ryan.
Well, so the Red Wings struck out again on another college free agent that was highly linked to the Detroit Red Wings. And before I can, now I can just say it, because before I, had a source and, this source was reliable, I thought. I mean, it was his mom. His mom legit told me that there was 3 teams that he was really considering. Detroit was one, LA was one, and San Jose is another one. And those happen to be the teams that, were the finalists to land him. He's not coming to Detroit, so now LA and San Jose are fighting for him, and he's most likely going to Los Angeles.
He signed the deal with LA today.
He signed.
Okay, so he signed with LA. So everyone that wanted to tell me that I was wrong about this and that there was no chance he was coming to Detroit, well, he was in the bottom 3. Anyway, so we're going to leave that aside because he didn't end up coming anyways. They just can't land. They're in a funk right now. With whatever they do, it just doesn't work out for them. They signed Nielsen to a contract, which a lot of people will say that wasn't the right decision. And they've signed multiple deals that look pretty good at the beginning. And now, everyone's like, oh, they never should have signed that. And just nothing they do works out. And it's really unfortunate because Brickley looks like a good defenseman. I've seen him in person a few times. I like his game. He's pretty physical. He can run a power play. He's good offensively. He makes a good first pass. We don't have any of that. He'd come here and he'd probably be the first or the second best defenseman on the team. And that's what's frustrating, that we have shit in front of him that he said, you know what? No, thanks. I'm not going to go to Detroit. And that's what's frustrating about it.
Sounds like Danny DeKeyser back in 2013. We all got excited, and look how that worked out for us. So this could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, but just because it didn't work out the first time doesn't mean you keep going. Don't go back to the well, because then you get burned if he doesn't. Or you get burned if he does end up being good.
And if this guy had a chance to go to, so say these 3 teams were like he had to say, 2 out of the 3 teams are going in the playoffs. Why would you want to go somewhere where your season ends in 5 days or a week?
They're not playing them anyway. So LA has a very big logjam at defense also. They, in the report when he signed, said he will most likely not play this season until LA can figure out their defensive issues, because they've got their defense is full. Plus they've got prospects waiting.
They've got good prospects.
I guess I kind of contradicted myself a little bit too. I did say this a few years ago when they were getting close to land Mike Riley out of the University of Minnesota, and Mike Riley hasn't really turned out to be much either. So I guess it could work one way, it could work the other way. But the thing that
look at Will Butcher.
Hold on, the thing that drives me nuts is that they kicked their tires and they couldn't land the guy. They kicked their tires on Will Butcher last year and they couldn't land him. And this is what grinds my gears. Toronto was able to land players, and I'm not saying that it was just college free agents, but they were able to land players and they were able to draft and develop. And it was quick. It was rather quick what the Leafs were able to do. And yes, they got Austin Matthews, but I'm just saying everything that the Red Wings organization does right now just doesn't work out for them. And I guess that kind of makes sense because they were good for 25 years or 26 years. But it's frustrating as a fan. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Ryan, I just want to get your thoughts on it real quick.
I mean, to go back to the Brickley thing, everything I've read and seen on him, he's the type of offensive threat probably similar to what we got with Hicketts, but bigger. He, in comparison to DeKaiser has always been looked at as that shutdown guy. And when he came through, we had some potential back on the back end where that's what his role could have been and maintained as, but we just don't have it, and relying on him as the top guy doesn't work. Brickley could have come in. He probably would have played bottom end minutes to start, but he could have actually played right away with this junk that we've got on the back end right now. And what's the harm? It's signed to an entry-level deal. If it's 2 years, okay, whatever. But what's interesting that he went to LA, and touching on Tyler's point of doing the strikeout on free agency, I go back all the way to what year did Parise and Suter pass up Detroit to go
2012.
Yeah.
Oh,
go right around that time frame, because everything I saw, it was almost a lock that they were coming in, which it makes sense that they went to Minnesota. Yeah, they're from there, but everything was they're signing with Detroit today, and then boom, go to Minnesota. I think right around that time frame, a little bit before that, is when the writing was on the wall that the decline is hitting Detroit, and guys have been kind of avoiding it. And even that was even with Babcock, and they still had obviously Datsuk still producing the way he did, but it was just aging players and aging contracts, which is where we're at right now. And the logjam that we have on defense are from bad contracts. Green falls off, and I know we've talked about it, but there's not a lot of space that pending free agents can see positive things happening right now. And like to touch on like the mindset of Ryan Martin, which threw me off from the Custance article, is that these guys, it's the tie goes to the veterans still. And that's the unfortunate piece of where we're at, especially with young free agents.
Yeah. Ryan Martin, I don't know why he would think he's a younger guy. I don't know why he would have that. Well, we need to be playing our vets, and the kids need to earn every bit of ice time they get and compete for it. And
I have one guess. And this is as right as I've ever been. It's because he's been sitting with Ken Holland for X amount of years, and now he's just sucking everything out of Ken Holland and evaporating it like a huge sponge.
He's also
taking everything
former
from Ken
agent
Holland.
and a lawyer, so he's probably one of those businessmen.
Jim
like
Miller,
mindsets.
though.
Yeah, I don't know. If you look at it and you go, okay, so Ken Holland's gone after 5 college free agents and he's signed 0 of them. How are you comfortable with him rebuilding an organization when clearly he's one of the reasons that no one wants to come here?
Anthony Ciu.
Yeah, Athanasiu, after he's 26, he's gone. I mean, we still hold his rights, and he can do the same thing next year. He can go back to Russia, or he can go to Russia to play. He can go overseas to play. He doesn't have to play here until after 26. I'm pretty sure he's gone if Ken Holland and Blashill are still here.
But if you're Ken Holland at that point, right? Why don't you just say, you know what? If this kid's going to be sour, and if you are really serious about rebuilding this thing from the ground up, and this kid's really sour about staying in Detroit because of whatever happened, why don't you just say, you know what? We're going to trade his rights. We're going to get whatever pick it is because we're rebuilding anyways, and we're not going to let people with shitty attitudes skate for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, no, it was because he basically used he's a young guy and he's part of the team's future and blah, blah, stuff like that. So that's what he used.
Well, I have news for him Athanasiu's attitude has not been much better this year. So
no, and neither has his on-ice performance.
Exactly.
No. So.
But moving on to
that contract.
Yeah. Moving on from that, though, I guess what this horrible re-signing of Holland and Blashill does get us is better draft odds. So our draft odds right now, we are currently beating Buffalo, so they probably will go down. But we are sitting at a 26.1% chance of picking in the top 3 and an 8.5% chance of picking first overall, which is kind of exciting. Right now, the way it stands is if the Red Wings miss the top 3, they're probably going to be picking between 5 and 7. So, I mean, you got other teams that are playing good around us. Vancouver's won 2 in a row. Arizona's won 2 in a row. Ottawa's lost 6, so they're due for a win. But Arizona's been playing great. They're 6-4-0 in their last 10, and Vancouver has been coming up. So, if we can get those two to pass us and we can finish in the bottom 3, that would be optimal. And that would get us, I mean, at least a guy like we can get a guy like Quentin Hughes, or we can get a guy like Evan Bouchard, a good defenseman that we need. Ryan, what do you think of the draft odds?
I'm going to stay optimistic because you look at New Jersey last year and what they ended up getting with the second pick.
Philly, too.
Philly.
Jersey, Jersey had the first pick.
Philly with the second pick. That's what I was thinking of. So there's a good chance, especially, unfortunately, the worse that we do. If we stay at that number 5, I feel pretty good about it that it could be a 5 to 7 pick. If we strike out on Dahlin, and I was mentioning this earlier, we definitely should take the NFL approach of next best available. If it's a Quinn Hughes, I'll be ecstatic because, like we've talked about before, they need that guy to drive the offense on the back end. If they do that, they have some offensive skill that they could finally start making something happen. We've already seen that in a couple quick flashes of Joe Hicketts back there, when he moves the puck, what this offense can look like. If they add 2 or 3 of those, 2, I should say, and if all goes well and you got a guy like Chalowski chomping at the bit, a guy like Quinn Hughes would be perfect. I mean, there's a couple other top-end D prospects, but even if they don't get one of them and they can land a guy, say, like Oliver Wahlstrom, something like that, just a depth guy that could make an initial impact, fight for minutes, and then push his way forward. That's what they need the most, to me.
Yeah. Tess, what do you like about our draft position?
It's weird because it's uncharted territory. I don't like it, but I know for the future it has to happen. It's like weird because I've never paid attention to like who's available for the draft because we've never been in the situation. So I'm like, why do I care? Well, I have to start caring now. It's our future. The one guy that I've seen a lot, and like I think it's with the fact that the Frozen Four, is that still called the college with Quinn Hughes? Yeah, so with it going on, with Quinn Hughes being involved, we need defensemen, and I've heard all good things, and we can never don't doubt a Michigan man, right? But one thing that I'm uncomfortable with this draft, this guy was born on October 14th in 99. Like, I feel really old. I don't like this anymore. Like, he's not even a 90s kid. He missed the cutoff. He was like an infant. That's just mind-boggling. I don't know. I'm defenseman. But I was thinking the other day, do we need like goalies?
They got a
Absolutely.
prospect pool
We got
right
a deep
now.
goalie prospect pool.
I still think you draft one though at some point.
You draft
just
goalie
think
every draft.
The future is so like blurred with that because we only have I'm just in Coro. He ain't gonna cut it. So who do you call upon?
Philip
Who's,
Larson.
Like, what's next?
Larson and Petrozzoli have the most upside right now, from what I'm seeing.
So does Joran
God
Van
bless you, man, for
Pottelberg.
knowing that.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
Yeah. So
JVP,
Philip
yeah, he's good
Larson
too.
played for in the World Juniors for Team Sweden.
Okay.
He was their goalie, and he's had a stellar year. Petruzzelli's moved up a little bit. I think Petruzzelli. You're probably looking at 2 years.
Yep.
Larson's probably the closest to coming up. And Van Pottelberg's been doing really well too. So we've got 3 pretty solid goalie prospects.
Okay. So
We'll still
basically
draft a
it's-
goalie, but
It's more just we need solid defense, which
yeah,
if whatever's
Caden-
available,
Caden
let's do
Fulcher
it.
was the other one. But I haven't heard much about him lately. But yeah, D prospects definitely, and that's where you're looking at Quinn Hughes. That's where you're looking at Evan Bouchard, who's actually rocketed up the ranks recently. And you're looking at Adam Boquist, who is small. He's 5'11", and he's light. He's 166 pounds right now.
Oh,
So he needs to
wow.
put on some weight. He's not going to get any taller, but he needs to put on some weight. And those are going to be – this is a very defense-heavy first round.
Thank
And
God.
yeah,
This is, I think,
which
what
is-
we need. We've been like
Exactly.
asking for. It's
Which is I'm
we could
wondering
have
if
the
we
next
might –
Nick Lidstrom for all we know.
yeah, which is
Wouldn't
I'm
that
wondering
be great?
if we might take our pick we got from Vegas and package it with another one to move up to take another defenseman.
I was just thinking about that. I could see that
Yeah.
happening. I hope they would do something like that.
Yeah. Tyler, I just wanted to get your final thoughts.
Yeah, so I mean, there's no secret they need defensemen, but I mean, you can never have. Like I said, I mean, obviously, at some point they're gonna probably pick somewhere between 5 to 7. I mean, I guess they could be in the top 3. You never know, but 5 to 7 or maybe 4. At that point, I would be best available because I mean, obviously, Dahlin's going to be gone at 1. Svechnikov's going to be gone at 2, and then Zadina is probably going to be 3, and you could end up at 4 with Quinn Hughes or Brady Tkachuk. Or one of those. Because I mean, my question is like, if they're 1, 2, 3, Zadina's gone, Svechnikov's gone, and Dahlin's gone. If all 3 of those guys are gone, and you get 4, do you take Quinn Hughes, who is the Michigan boy? Look, he's smaller, but he's a freak. He can skate. He's really good. Or do you take a guy that's a physical bull, and he's an agitator, and he's going to draw penalties, and he seems to be like I hate to say this because I hate the guy, but a bigger version of Brad Marchand. Do you take a guy like that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's the real question, because that's a fair point, because if you do end up at 4, you're going to have Boquist, you're going to have Bouchard as well, you're going to have Quinn Hughes, and you're going to have Tkachuk, and you better not mess that up, because then you can really screw this up for the next 5 or 6 years if you don't get this right.
Yeah. All I have to say is, and the Detroit Red Wings select Dennis Cholowski. So I see I'm going to get flashbacks this draft.
I think they take Quinn Hughes there, and that's the thing that, in a way, it scares me. But I guess at the same time, Quinn Hughes is the kind of guy that you take there. But then again, I think Tkachuk might be the best player available there, and so I know you go with play. I would go with the best player available. They're probably going to go with we need a defenseman. Let's go with Quinn Hughes. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of Tkachuk this year in person. I've also seen a lot of him on TV because, he plays for BU. And he's physical. He's everything the Red Wings really need. But he's not a defenseman, and that's the only, downside to it. But he does score goals. So, I mean, The Red Wings need that. They need everything. If you really want to be honest with everything, they need
Jesus
everything.
Needs to bless us. Like, we just all need to go to church and just.
They've been
confess.
blessed with a guy that's going to probably be the future leader in Dylan Larkin, so they're lucky there. They just need someone on the back end, like a Dylan Larkin kind of player, and I think maybe Quinn Hughes maybe is that.
I need Nick Lidstrom's 4 sons to play in the NHL, and I want all of them as defensemen. Oh my God, we just scored again. Anthony C., did you hear us bitching about you?
I think you had rabbit ears.
Well, can you do something?
I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Because you get into a dicey situation if you're at 4 and there's best player available versus your real need.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough question to answer, I would say.
Yeah, I think we're at time though. I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay. Is that all? Is that all we got?
Yeah. I'll let you take us out. You can do Twitter tags and stuff.
Okay, so Tessa, I want you to shout out your Twitter handle, please.
My Twitter handle is at TMDudleyXO.
Ryan, go ahead.
At RDRyan33.
And Greg, you're next.
I am at Bringing the Wing.
Yep, and you can follow me on Twitter at Ghost of Datsuk. I'll probably be changing that soon. You can follow the Winged Octopus on Twitter at Winged Octopus. You can also like us on Facebook and also follow us on Instagram as well. You can also find our podcast on Podbean. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, and soon to be Spotify. Greg, is that true?
Yeah, it still says in progress. So I had to email them.
Okay, that's a good thing. And then and Stitcher as well. So, I mean, guys, subscribe on there if you can. But that's all we have tonight. Red Wings are up, what is it, 4-2 now against the Sabres and Casey Middlestat. That's all I have tonight. That's all we all have tonight. That's it. Stay classy, Hockey Town.